Hi, this is Professor Jacob. This video is in regards to completing projects on the SimNet website. Your first project will come in week 5 on Blackboard. Down the page, your first project is Access 2016 Skills Approach, Chapter 2, Challenge Yourself 2.3. When you click on this link, it's going to automatically open up to the week 5 folder on SimNet and the Challenge Yourself 2.3 project area. So you only have 2 steps to follow in this area for projects. So I'm going to show you the best way to complete the projects on the SimNet website. The first thing, of course, is to download the files under step 1 here. You're going to click Open the File Download Wizard. Once you do that, it's going to automatically download the project start file. The project start file has your first name dot your last name with Access 2016 Chapter 2 Challenge Yourself 2.3. Then your pop-up wizard your pop-up window for the download wizard still has 3 additional steps for you to follow. Okay, so you're going to download the instruction file and download the resource bundle. This best practices document here, this is optional. Okay, so on the instruction file, what comes first, of course, is the skills needed to complete this project. These skills here you've picked up by completing chapters 1 and 2 in the access area. So, down the page, step 1, open the start file. If necessary, enable active content by clicking the Enable Content button in the message bar. That appears actually on the start file itself. So you launch the start file. If you don't immediately see your start file along the status bar of your Google Chrome browser, you can go to the Downloads area in your File Explorer application. File Explorer is located on your taskbar. It is the Manila folder with the blue handle. Okay, so here is the Enable Content button. And here are all the objects that are in this database already. So we click the Enable Content button. Back on the instruction sheet. The file is already named. You never have to change a project file name for this class. So you can immediately go and follow those instructions. Okay, so you're going to create a new table in Design View with the following information. So step A, the first field name is FERT ID, and the data type for that field is short text. Next field is fertilizer name with the data type of short text, nutrient ratio, and price with the data type of currency. So you're going to complete each one of these, okay? And in order to do that, of course, you have to be on the project file. If you're going to create a new table, you go to the Create tab and select Table. And here, this is where you would then begin typing in FERT ID. we're going to get out of that. Short text. And to solidify the name of this field, you would hit the enter key and it goes to the next field. So the next field would be fertilizer name. And that also has a short text. Enter. Short text, nutrient ratio. Enter. And the last field is currency field, and it's called price. Now, you can see in the table exactly what assigning currency does. So below your field names, you have a new record row, okay? And it's new because nothing has been typed into it yet by the user. But you can see the price field has a $sign, a 0.00. So anything that's typed into this particular field, okay, in this column of price will be currency. It will look like dollars and cents. All right. So the instructions in E want you to set the fertilizer ID field as the primary key. So you select the fert ID. Okay. From here, the best way to do this is to go into the design view of the table, and it's going to prompt you to save it. Okay. And let's go down just a little bit. It wants you to save the name of the table to fertilizers. So you're just going to type fertilizers into the table name field here. Click OK. And there we are in design view. So the FERT ID should be now the primary key. So you see the primary key left the regular ID field, and now it's on the FERT ID field. So back to our instructions. Close the table, not the entire database, the table. This X here closes the entire database. This X below here closes the table. Yes, you want to save. Access is one of those applications that everything you change inside any object, you have to then save the object. But the database, you never have to save the database, okay? Because when you download the database, it is saved. When you create a database, it asks you for a name and saves it. So Access is the only application that works in this fashion. So back to your instructions. Step 5, you're going to open the plants table and make the following changes. Okay? And it tells you you may work in datasheet or design view as appropriate. Okay? And that should be a given. So you're going to follow under step 5, steps A through G. Okay? Set the field size for plant ID to 10. Okay? So it told you up here that you're going to open the plants table. So back to our database, we're going to go to plants and set the field size to 10 to plant ID. Okay, so here's the field size. It's by default set at 255 characters. You just merely type in 10, enter, and it always gives you this little message. And this is kind of a fail-safe measure to make sure you're not corrupting the data. So you're just going to click Yes, okay, because there's already data, there's already records. Now you could have also went into the design view and did the exact same thing on the plant ID field, but your field size is down here in the field properties pane. Okay, so rename the flower color field to primary color. So I'm going to go back to datasheet view. So, and I'm going to look for flower color, the flower color field. And what does it say? Rename it to primary color. So how do you rename a field? You merely right click on that field and then select rename field. You can do it here or you can do it in design view. It's your choice. So instead of flower color, it would be primary color, all one word. Okay. Then it says set the default value property for the primary color field to white. Okay. So on the primary color field, you see the little row selector here. Tells you which row you're on, which field you're on. If you look in the field properties pane, is there anything that you could choose to do that? So we want to save that because we actually made changes to the table. So what you could do is in design view for the default value, we're just going to simply type in white, all lowercase letters. Now what this will do, every single time there is a new record to create in this table, that word white will appear in the primary color field. It doesn't mean it's there until it's typed, but it's kind of like placeholder text. Okay, so I'm going to go back to datasheet view. It's going to prompt me because I've changed something to save it. Okay, and so let's test it out. Let's create a new record, and we see automatically that it has white, and it's lowercase letters, unlike the whites that are mentioned in records that are already completed. Okay, so that's what default value means. Back to the instructions. Add a lookup field. The name of the lookup field is preferred fertilizer. Okay, so you can click to add here, and you could select lookup here, or you could go into design view, which I like design view, to a new field, and it's preferred fertilizer. And then in the data type area, select lookup wizard, which will open up the lookup wizard dialog box. And it says that it's going to recognize or reference the fertilizer name field in the fertilizer table. So on this little screen, you have two options. You want it to look up a field that's in a table or a query, or do you want to type the values that you want to appear in this field? It already told us to use the fertilizer table or fertilizers table. So you select next and select fertilizers. Next. And then we're going to select fertilizer name as the instruction says. So to get it from here over to the selected fields area, we just click that forward arrow, or you could have double clicked on fertilizer name and it would have appeared over here in the selected fields area. So the lookup list should be sorted alphabetically by fertilizer name. So we go to the next field, by fertilizer name, and it's already in ascending order. That means from A to Z. If you selected it and it said descending, that meant from Z to A. So we're going to take it back to ascending. Our next instruction is the primary key field should be hidden and enforce referential integrity. It's already selected to hide it. Next, enable data integrity. Data integrity is referential integrity. Okay, and that just means that if a record in any table is deleted or referenced in any way, every instance of that record being mentioned will be updated or deleted. Okay, so click finish, and of course it's going to prompt you to save it. So let's take a look in datasheet view how it looks for us. So we have the preferred fertilizer field, and when you go to a record and select that record, there's going to be a drop-down box, and the reason there's nothing there yet is because in the fertilizers table there's not any fertilizer names. So let's test that. If I put a fertilizer ID here, and you're not supposed to do this, but I'm going to put Miracle Grow. This is just for an example. Okay. A couple here. So I have Miracle Grow and Pure Pristine in the fertilizer name fields. Okay. And I'm going to close that. And I'm going to close plants as well because I've made some updates. So I'm going to go to plants. And in the preferred fertilizer field, I should now be able to see Miracle Grow as well as Pure and Pristine. Okay, so that's what a lookup field actually does for you. It gives you a list. Okay, so you're just going to follow the following instructions. Add an attachment field. Just like you added a lookup field, you can add an attachment field. There's the attachment data type. Okay, and it's got to have a name. Well, it doesn't tell us to give it a name. But it does tell us to, after the preferred fertilizer field, add the geranium JPG. So that geranium JPG file, that is considered to be an image file. That is the additional resource that you needed in that compressed or zipped folder. Okay, so back to, let me close this here. Back to our zipped folder. You're going to extract. And then you're going to because I've done this more than once, click extract, and it's going to show you the file in the folder. And there's the geranium JPG. So it's in my downloads area. So I'm going to come back here and instructions. Okay, so add the image to the record for spotted geranium. So I'm looking for spotted geranium. There we are, GMA. And I'm going to come all the way over here. And in order to add an attachment, you double click on that paper clip, select add, and then you have to find that folder in the downloads area, the unzipped folder. Okay. And there's geranium. Double click, click OK. So what did that do? It changed from not having any image in it to now it has one image associated with that. So what difference does that make? Well, it could mean a lot of things. So say, for instance, if we created a form from on the plants table, okay, and in the common name, I searched for spotted geranium, and I used a Control F for find. So now we see that the picture that we added to the attachment field for the spotted geranium now has a picture of that spotted geranium. Okay? So the whole point of a database, of course, is to store vast amounts of information and sometimes even pictures or even Word documents, Excel documents, PDF files, okay? So you can add all of those kind of files within a database. Now it says delete the max height feet field. So we're going to come out of this, and I'm not going to save it. I was just showing you how that works. Okay. So back to, no, we weren't in fertilizers. We were in plants, right? So the max height feet field, you could select the field name, right click, and then select delete field. Okay, that's in datasheet view. Or you could come over here to design view and find it and delete the row. Either way would get rid of that field. Okay, it's going to confirm with you that you want to do that. You click yes. It's going to prompt you to save it because you made changes to the table. Okay, so when we open it back, that max height field is gone. Save and close the table. So you're ready to go to step 6. So each of these lettered items, you're just going to follow the instructions. Okay, so I stepped you through 1 through 5 pretty much already within a matter of minutes. So I will trust that you will be able to go from 6 through 9. Okay, you must close the database before uploading it for grading. Okay, so make sure you do that. Once you do finish that file, you should be able to select Upload My File and then come into your downloads area. My first name on SimNet is Professor.Jacob. And I have many of these, so I'm just going to choose the first one. That's fine. Now, I didn't finish the project, but of course you're going to finish the project, and that's what's most important. So you could either find the file, which I prefer to find the file. I have lots of files in here. Find the file and then double click on the file. That's probably the easiest way to do this. If you find it on the file name list, then you can click open. Okay. And then it takes a moment to upload the file. And once you click yes, submit the file, it's going to start grading the file automatically. Now you have 2 attempts per project. Okay. So if this first attempt doesn't work out for you, you can redo that entire project file for extra practice, okay, and submit. And of course, this is going to be an abysmal grade, but I only did go through 1 through 6, I think, or 1 through 5. Okay, so how to read this would be, of course, you see your score, and then down this list you have 4 or 5 items that are listed, along with how much each was worth, and the number that appears before that final number is how many you got right out of that total. Okay, this image over here is not your file that you submitted, as it tells you here. This is a representation of the solution file. Okay, if you wanted to see the file you submitted, of course it should be on your computer, but if you're away from your computer where you worked on this, you could download that submitted file again. You can also, if you get off of this screen, you can find the same information in the grades area. And I'm just going to go for the Access project. Okay. So you should be able to view results. All right. Click View Result, and it's going to give you this again. So hopefully this will assist you further in getting your first Access project completed. If you need any additional assistance with your projects throughout the class, there is a peer tutor that is available on Tuesdays and Thursdays on the Southwest campus, and her name is Jayla Harlan. And Jayla actually took my class and did very well in the class, so she should know how to use SimNet. Okay, and it's Tuesdays and Thursdays on the Southwest campus from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Jayla will not do your projects for you. The only thing she can do is help you to find your project instructions, make sure you download your project file. If you have any questions on any of the steps, she can speak assistance to you, but she cannot do it for you. So before you go to the Learning Commons, I will warn you up front that the tutors will not do your work for you. You have to do your work. All right? So just make sure you have that understanding before you go. All right? So these activities, Access Chapter 1, Getting Started with Access 2016, and Access Chapter 2, Working with Tables, should get you ready for this project 2.3. Likewise, in the next folder in week 6, and it's taking a moment for it to come up, but likewise, Access Chapters 3 and 4 should get you prepared for the project 3.6 and 4.2. Okay, so they work the exact same way as the first project. You're just adding concepts that you learned from chapters 3 and 4 into these projects. So good luck to you. And if you need any additional assistance, I am available, as it stated on your course syllabus here. My office hours are Mondays 10 to 12, Tuesdays 10 to 2 p.m., Wednesdays 10 a.m. to 12, and Thursdays 10 a.m. to 12. If you need additional assistance, you can use Starfish to set an appointment, or most students just walk in. Okay? If I do have someone in my office, please let the secretary know that you are here to see me. And once I finished with the individual in my office, the secretary will let you know that you can then come in to my office. All right? So good luck to you on your SimNet online projects.